So part of living on a boat is boat projects. One of the things that we're going to try and start doing is showing everyone as a project comes up what's involved in doing that project. I've had a lot of folks ask me how to do certain things, and I should start putting out these type of videos. So that's what we're going to show you now.
So here's the story of the Wandering Knapps. We are a family of 5 from Texas. Chris and Jolene met in 2nd grade and began dating our freshman year of high school. We got married in college, moved to Texas, had 3 boys, fell in love with the water, sold everything to travel the Caribbean. Join us on our adventure.
Somebody once told me that cruising is really just fixing your boat in exotic places. So today I'm going to show you guys how to change out a couple of 12-volt light fixtures. We've got 2 different styles. We've got this one right here. It's the old one. And we're going to replace it with one of these. Same thing with this light fixture up here. This is the old one. And then this is our new one over here. The old ones are old school light bulbs, and they get very, very hot. If you touch this, it's very hot. That means it's using a lot of power, and it's also, I've seen some of these on the inside where the wires got so hot they actually scorched and burned. The new ones are both LED. They stay cool to the touch. They use very, very little energy. So let's get started. These are our new light fixtures here. They're just West Marine brand. They're LED. I've changed a bunch of these throughout our boat, and I actually been very, very happy with them. Some tools you'll need are some wire cutters and some wire strippers. You'll need either an electric or a normal screwdriver. And then up here, you're also going to need a heat gun in order to heat shrink your connectors. Right over here, you'll see your connectors. We've got different sizes. These are called butt connectors. And once you connect the wires, you'll use your heat gun to shrink these. So, first thing, of course, is just to take off the old light fixture. And that's just 2 screws. On each side. One of the things that makes working on 12 volt a little easier, these run off the battery. They don't run off of high voltage 110 like an outlet. So I usually work on this stuff live. Of course, the best thing would be to turn it off and disconnect your battery, but I'll show you how to go ahead and do it live. The main thing if you're going to work on these without disconnecting your battery is make sure you're never cutting the wires at the same time. You're going to cut one wire and then you're going to cut the other wire. Old ones going in the trash. Old technology, not needed. Next thing, you'll grab your wire strippers and you'll strip just one of the wires. The reason you only strip one is while you're working, you don't want them to accidentally touch an arc. So you want to strip enough so that your wire is going to go to the middle of the connector here. So you can see, I would say that's probably a 1/4 inch or so of wire. Now I just want to take your wires, twist them together so they're in a nice, and then there's different sizes, so you want to get the size that fits. This particular one's the blue one. You're then going to crimp your wire, or crimp your butt connector, excuse me. Make sure your wire's in all the way. And you're going to want to squeeze as tight as you can. Once you've squeezed it, you want to pull on it, make sure it's not going to come out. Now that we've done that one, we'll do the same thing on the other one. Now that we've got both the butt connectors on and the wires are protected so they're not going to arc and cross, we'll go ahead and get our new light out. So these wire sizes here demand a blue butt connector. These wire sizes here really should have the pink, which is the next side down. What we're going to do is we're going to strip back a little bit more on these wires, and we're going to twist them, and then we're going to fold the wires in half. That'll increase the size of these wires so they'll fit into the blue connectors a little better. So with some light fixtures, it doesn't matter. I believe it does with these. We're going to make sure we got them plugged into the right. So I went ahead and flipped the switch on, and we're going to go ahead and just insert that in there. Insert that in there. As you can see, it comes on. If I put it in the other direction, you can see it does not come on. So we'll make sure the black goes to black. And in my case here, my white with the black strap wire looks to be the positive wire. There we go. So now you're simply going to insert this wire that you've stripped and folded over into the butt connector, and you're going to use your crimpers to crimp it down. And again, every time you want to pull, make sure you got a good connection there. Light comes on, we know it's working. So here we go. So everything in a marine environment, you want to heat shrink all the wires when you're doing electrical. So that's why you buy these. Yes, they're a little bit more expensive. You can get them online in bulk for relatively reasonable price. So I like to use a heat gun. We're just going to heat this up and you'll see it shrink after about a few seconds. You can also use a blowtorch or a lighter. I don't like to do it just because I'm afraid I'm going to burn something. So we'll go ahead and so you can see the difference. This side right here is not heat shrunk and it's still open, so water could get in there or moisture. This side, it melts down, it grabs the wire. Not only does it help seal out moisture, it also helps to add to the strength of the connection. When you have a wiring problem in your boat, it's never in the middle of the wire. I say never, it's almost never in the middle of the wire, unless you've got a chafe problem where it's rubbing, or you've got a rat that got in and chewed it up. Anytime the first place you look when you have a wiring problem is going to be at all the connections. So at one end or the other is where you start. That's why it's so important to make sure you have a good connection when you're doing your electrical. Once you've heat shrunk these will be hot, so be very careful for a little while, let them cool off. The next step is just to take this wire, you're going to coil it up inside here. You're going to put your 2 screws in, and you want to make sure that when you coil it up, you're not screwing through your wires. So I'll just take a second here, coil it up, and I'm going to try and reuse the same holes. Once you've got your wires all tucked in the base, it's simply just a matter of reusing the same holes that were there before and securing it back to the wall. And there we go. We've got a new LED 12-volt light replaced. All right, this light fixture is going to be very similar to the one we just did. This one has 3 screws on each side. So we're going to take those out. So this is a good example of not marine grade wiring. This is wing nuts, and they just twist together, and they are not recommended by the I always forget the abbreviations. American Boat and Yacht Council, ABYBC or something like that. And they're the ones that set the standards for how boats are supposed to be built. It's not a watertight connection, and they can come loose with vibration. That's why you can see how easy I can just pull them apart. And that's why they're not recommended. So these wires are already stripped here, so all I'm going to do, be careful not to touch them because they are live. We're just going to straighten out the ends here. We're going to give it a good twist. And then we're going to go ahead and crimp on our butt connectors. There's one. There's two. Make sure and always pull them. Make sure they're on there secure. Now I'll go ahead and open up our next light. All of these lights, so you can see a little better. All of these lights come with hardware, just like these ones did, and the wires are pre-stripped. Again, just like last time, we're going to strip a little more so we can double up the wire size. Just like last time, I'm going to go ahead and flip my switch on, and I'm going to see which one is my positive. I think it's the same. There it is. So we'll go red to white and black to black. So we've got our wires inside the butt connectors on the other side. There's one. And there's two. Okay, you want to make sure and again tug on them and double check. Yep, they work. So now we're going to go ahead and heat shrink those just like on the last one. Once again, those connections are going to be hot, so make sure and be careful as you're working with them. We're just going to get these wires coiled up inside the back here, grab our 3 screws that came with the new light, and screw it back to the ceiling. As you're putting it back up, pay attention to where you put your switch. I like to make them the same on all my lights, or try and get them in the same direction so you're used to reaching for the switch the same way. And that for me in this situation is this direction. This is always the toughest part on these, trying to get them, hold them up and the screw gun all at the same time. If you got a helper, now's a good time to grab them because they can hold the light for you while you put the screws in. So there you go. We've showed you how to change out an overhead dome light to the new LED. We've showed you how to do a bedside reading light. Again, both of these are 12 volt or DC powered lights. If there's any other questions you have, feel free to put those in the comments. If there's some other video you'd like to see, something you're curious as to how to do on a boat, please leave those in the comments for me as well. I'll see what I can do to get to those projects in the future. Again, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please hit subscribe. Hopefully this was helpful for everyone.